All right, welcome everybody. My name is Greenwood, and I'm going to start a few videos. I'm involved in motor racing, as you can probably see by the pictures in the back, but also have been studying life and the economy for the last 12 years. So I kind of knew this type of thing. We're in a shutdown at the moment here in New Zealand. I knew this type of thing was coming. Obviously didn't know it was going to be a virus, but the impact of this and the impact on the economy is going to be huge, way greater than I think anybody is portraying, especially on the news media, government, stuff like that. They have effectively shut the world down. 2/3 of the world is shut down, which, you just 2 months ago, economically, you could not imagine the implications of that, which are going to be very profound. And, the biggest problem I think that a lot of people don't realize is that they say the reason for doing that is to save lives, which sounds all very nice and romantic, and of course that's what you must do. But in killing the economy in the process, that is also going to cause people to die in other ways. And I just can't believe that governments around the world have put a unlimited a price, if you like, on saving lives without taking into consideration the consequence of doing that, which is really weird, because before the virus, if certain drugs wasn't funded by the government, people died because they didn't get the drugs. No problem with that. So there was a price on life, and depending on what governments decided was worthwhile, was depending on how much money was given to people who are dying or sick or mental health or whatever. So they did have a price on life. And then for some reason this virus comes along, and suddenly the price on life just goes out the window, and they close down the world economy, print money like it's going out of fashion. And again, a lot of people don't realize that your kids and grandkids are going to be paying for that. So they have indebted your kids and future grandkids to pay for what we're doing right now, which is to try to save a few lives. And I'm trying not to sound empathetic about it and everything else. It's obviously for those who have been sick and who are dying and who are going to die and who have died, I'm very sorry for that. But we do have to put it all in perspective. And life is not fair, and people die. And 600,000 to 700,000 people every year around the world die of the flu, which you don't hear them saying about that. I think it's 550 people in New York in the hospitals die every day normally. So it's just that we haven't been showing this in the media. So when you start to see 200, 300, 400 people dying, and they're bringing out coffins, and everybody goes, "Oh my God, we can't do that. It's terrible." But in perspective of everything, it's at the moment the death rate from this is actually no more worse than a bad flu. It looks worse, of course, because you have to go on ventilators if you're really sick and all that kind of stuff, which normally you wouldn't. So yeah, obviously the media has made it look a lot worse than it is. But my concern is that regardless of what how we feel about that, it's done now. They've shut the world economy, and I think a lot of people think that somehow we're just going to put a switch on, and everything's going to come back to life, and we're all going to go back to work, and everything's going to be fine. Of course, that's not correct. There is a lot of businesses that will not reopen, and are going to find it really hard, the ones that can survive, because obviously when we do finally get back to work, people are going to be very reluctant to get out and about and spend money, and certain things initially, like hairdressers and everything else, me included, are probably going to get hit, do very well. But over time, when people realize that their job is not secure, that a lot of people have lost their job, people are going to not spend money. We have got no tourism, borders will be closed for a while, and all that kind of stuff. People won't be thinking of, no one's going in the world to be planning a holiday next year. And so, those kind of implications are just absolutely huge. And what I don't hear governments around the world talking about is how they're going to come out of this, and what are they going to do. What's the plan? Do we have a lockdown for 4, 6, 8 weeks, and then we go back to work, and if someone gets sick, we go do it again for another 8 weeks? I mean, there comes a time, and Winston Peters actually said it quite well on the radio this morning, is that there is a huge cost to this, and it becomes a time when the cost is actually worse than the actual disease itself. So the cost of not working is actually higher than the cost of the disease. And I don't think a lot of people are thinking about that at the moment. I think a lot of people are trying to do the right thing, and we all got to stay at home, and which is fine. But I think we need to make sure that we're looking ahead, that we're planning ahead, that we are questioning everything. I mean, God, I'm seeing people now who if you question anything, they go, "Oh my God, you can't do that. It's unpatriotic. You have to do what our Prime Minister says, and this and that." And it's just that is scary, because we should never ever take what a government says as for granted. They don't always get it right, and actually most of the time don't get it right at all. And history proves that. And we have to make sure that we question everything, because it's just once you stop questioning things, it's a scary place. But I don't see many people doing that, so very weird. So anyway, I'm going to do some videos. Obviously got some time on my hands, so I'm going to do some videos once a day. I like to spread to get out there what I've learned in the last 12 years about the financial collapse and everything else. Now, look, most of you don't know this or knew, but I've actually been planning for this event, and it's been overdue for probably about 3-4 years, to be fair. 2008 was never actually corrected properly. We had a huge pile of debt in 2008, and they kind of like helped it by just making more and more debt. So now we've got we did have 5 or 6 times more than 2008. Now it's probably more like 10. So this has been long overdue. And so I'm going to go through some videos, tell you about what I learned, why this hasn't come a surprise to me at all, what I think will happen in the future, which I try and listen to and get educated financially and everything else on people that are far more intelligent than me, and they've got it right before every single time, whereas most economists never get it right at all. It's always wishful thinking, and because the media has to, the media can't say that house prices are going to drop by X amount, because that puts a panic in the market, and technically you're not allowed to do that. So a lot of the stuff you hear on the news and everything else, this is purely just to keep you all in your place so that you don't question everything, you all feel good. But what's coming is not good, and I'm fearful for people. I'm fearful for people to get hurt. And so maybe if you listen to some of my videos coming up, you might be able to take some action that might be able to help you. And say this is 12 years of education that I've had, and I feel fairly confident I know what's coming and what extent, which I'll share to you in my later videos. So if you're keen and you like what you hear, sign in, or what do they do nowadays on YouTube, and subscribe, and we're going to start doing this quite regularly. Until next time, thank you.